Well, Circle Alberta was a project that we developed out of some interfaith dialogues we had been doing a couple of years ago, and one of the main speakers we had at that conference, we were doing interfaith dialogues, Ovid McCurdy, really put forward the bleak picture of what it's like to be an Aboriginal in Canada today. And from that, it was really clear that maybe some discussions needed to happen on the Aboriginal issue.
Dealing with Differences is actually a program that we run here in Edmonton, bringing Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal youth together. Bringing them together to start dealing with differences and start to look at the differences between the two, but also seeing how much they have in common and how much they can look at one another and realize that a lot of their hopes and fears are very similar, actually.
Really, the project was about bringing two youth from a rural community in Alberta. We had been working with 9 communities throughout the province, and we wanted to bring one Aboriginal, one non-Aboriginal youth together to deal with their differences, to get their stereotypes on the table and build the relationships, almost be a model, and take that back and start to address racism within their community.
Essentially, this is why you're here. When you look around the room, there are differences. There's skin color differences, there's height differences, there's gender differences, all that type of stuff. What we want to do today is talk about some differences, and we want to talk about some ways that we look at people. And then we want to talk about how maybe we can do that differently. Okay. Now, here's another thing. This is kind of focused on Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal. Okay. And again, this is something that isn't talked about a whole lot, and people aren't that comfortable just throwing it out there. I'm very comfortable throwing it out there, and I think that I don't care what the two sides are, if we want to call it that. I think that we should be comfortable in throwing some stuff out there and talking about it. And the big thing is that we want you guys to be able to leave here today feeling good about the idea of dealing with differences and feeling also good about going into your communities and talking to other people about it.
It's all about the engagement with young people, and it doesn't matter if you're Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal. It doesn't matter who you are. You want to be engaged, you want it to be interactive, you want to be able to feel comfortable. So once we get that kind of level of comfort going, and it's tough to do in one day, but we can kind of get them to a certain place anyways, then we can maybe get a little bit more serious and have some of that dialogue where they're being honest about some of these issues.
If you look around the room, we're all different, but we've all been discriminated against for some reason, right? So guess what we have in common today? We've all experienced that in some way. In some way.
Okay, well, my experience was like a year ago, basically. Me and my buddies were hanging around, and we all just like, oh, look at that guy, bro. Oh, he's black. Like, oh, look at that native guy. Like, you know, no, we don't used to say Aboriginal or anything. Like how you used to, I bet you that's how you guys called them.
No, we say the word Indian.
Indian. We used to call it like natives. Oh, look at them. And then all of a sudden, I start hanging out with like different guys. I'm a people's person. I like talking to everybody, and then I actually got to know these guys, and they're like just talking to me as if like they really want to get to know me, and then I'm like, wow, these guys, like, why am I making fun of them? They're actually good people.
I've actually really changed the way I see white people, because I like honestly hated them. And she's like one of my best friends now. And then like I always hated white people. I always had bad experiences. Like they would always like call me wagon burner or something like that. I don't even know what the hell a wagon burner is actually. And then finally this year, I was put in her class, and yeah, I started to talk to her, and now she's one of my good friends.
All right. So, stand if you've ever been bullied. Okay, grab a seat. Stand if you have ever hurt anybody in your family. By your words, your actions, anything like that. Okay, grab a seat.
I think that there's always just kind of this tension there, and and this is why we do these workshops, because there's a kind of an unspoken tension I think that happens. This is my opinion. I think there's an unspoken tension that can happen between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people. There's so much history that goes into this, but a lot of it's been swept under the table. I think whenever we can get them talking about, you know, their views on the other side, that's whenever we start to really kind of see some of the emotional stuff come out of it, for sure.
Now we're going to have all the non-Aboriginal people go into this room. We're going to have the Aboriginal people stay in this room. And Amy and I are going to run you guys through a bit of an exercise. All right. Okay, here we are. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give you guys the opportunity to write down anything that you want to write down about Aboriginal people.
That's so mean.
It's not meant to be mean.
You guys are going to be taking turns. I want everyone to at least write a couple things about non-Aboriginal people.
Really? I'm just gonna write racist.
So you can think of stereotypes or names that you have for them or things that you hear people say about them. Doesn't have to necessarily be
Real preschool and stuff. I also mean like gangster.
Write it down then.
Okay. I don't want to write that. TCH. Rugged. Makes me want to cry.
Yeah, what the hell? There's nothing nice on here.
Obnoxious.
Harry,
yes! Just spell obnoxious wrong, please. Smart. They know how to say it funny. Oh, let's think of some funny shit. I know. Do we get to read what they were about white people?
Probably not, because it's you don't really want to read this to them, do you?
It's illegal. Why did we write it?
To talk about it. Come on.
Well, seriously, do you want to? I want art.
How did that feel?
Awkward.
Awkward? Bad?
Sad.
actually kind of pretty bad.
Felt pretty bad. Yeah. Didn't even want to write anything.
Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So, why do you feel that way? What's the big deal?
I took it more funny than anything because I know who I am and I know what I am as a person, so what's on that piece of paper doesn't make me who I am. So, makes no difference.
Okay.
I was hurt because some of the stuff is true. Like crack. You go to town site, there's crack everywhere. But it's not, I don't even know how to explain it. Most of that stuff on there is part of the segregation we went through, you know? We're lost as a community. There's like, we have no roots anymore. So I was like kind of hurt by it actually.
Yeah. Anything else? Any of these surprising to you?
The racist one kind of bugged me because, you know, most of the people I know aren't racist.
Natives.
And like the way I view racist is like, you know, say AJ, you know, is being racist towards me, you know, and I'll be racist towards him for him being racist to me. You know, it's not like I've grown up to be racist. I'm just racist to people who are racist.
Okay.
It's very hard to hear some of these things. Bottom line is this, though, it's the way people think on both sides of this fence. And this is what we want to try to do, is give them an understanding of the other side, that it isn't always like this, and that these are stereotypes, and we need to try to understand the other side more.
This exercise is set up because I want you guys to ask some questions of yourselves. Why is this stuff here? You know? In doing this type of stuff, what are we lacking?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Tolerance. Respect.
Self-esteem even.
Self-esteem issues, okay. The next question is, what are we going to do with it? What do we do with that mess in front of us? Does anybody else want to partake in that? Again, this exercise is not done to be mean, because I don't think anyone in here is mean, and I don't think anyone's trying to be mean. What we were hoping